Okay, hi guys, welcome back to the Audio Levels channel, and if you're new here, I just want to ask you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and you'll automatically be entered into any of our giveaways. This month we're giving away a set of the Blonde Prometheus BL-A8, and leading into Christmas we're going to try and give away crazier and crazier headphones. So you subscribe once, leave it, that's fine, and you're going to be automatically entered into all future draws. Now, the other benefit of being a subscriber is that if you leave a comment on any of the videos, I'll take a look at it and you can ask me for direct comparisons. So for example, if you want a $1,000 shootout, we could do the Solaris 2020, Fearless Audio Rollins and the Dorado 2020, or we could do a budget ones, Tin Hi-Fi P1s versus Canera Sculled versus anything that you see me review on the channel. You can ask me to go head to head with them, and I think that gives you a better idea of what you're buying. It's all very good watching a single review where it says this is a really spacious sounding earphone with great mids and detail. Well, how good are those mids and how good are the details when put up against another $1,000 earphone? So that's going to kind of be the purpose of this channel, is to give direct head to heads as opposed to just the one-off reviews. This one, we're taking a look at the Dunu Hulk Pro. The original Dunu Hulk is a cable that I've been using for a long time now. I used it with the original Solaris, and it's the gold standard of cables as far as I'm concerned. Dunu, with their innovative connector, excellent build quality and solid materials, they just make fantastic cables, they make fantastic products and fantastic earphones. They're really one of the most underrated companies in the earphone space. This is the Hulk Pro. As I say, it's an extension of the Hulk. It's got a lot of stuff similar, and it's just tiny little refinements. This one I have in 2-pin to use with the Roland. In hindsight, I probably should have got it in MMCX because it's a beautiful color match with the Campfire Audio Dorado, but I already have a few different cables. One of the other ones that I'm going to discuss in this review is going to be the Lenso Eufrozane cable. This is a relatively new cable. This is the Eufrozane. It comes in 2 different colors, options of connectors and options of termination. It's fantastic, and I think this is about $150 or something. I'll leave a link to the pricing for this, or where you can buy this, down below. This is probably the highest end cable that you probably should need. Why do I say that? Because this cable is not something you do need. This is the cherry on the top of your rig. This is the final piece to the puzzle, if you will. When I first got into audio, the cables were super expensive. You know, you're talking $200-300 to have something custom made. So I got into building cables myself, and I have a fairly decent understanding of what makes a good cable. And it's something I'm very nitpicky about when you see my earphone reviews about the included cable. It makes a big difference to how you enjoy your earphones. You have to have that cable swinging about. You have to wrap it up, unwrap it. You don't want a cable like the trashy Campfire Audio Litz cables. I mean, this is a $1,500 earphone, and it comes with one of the worst cables that I've ever used in my life. The Campfire Audio, while they've improved recently, as a general rule, as a cable company, I don't understand how they can make such bad cables. So it's really something like, if you've gone and bought a headphone that doesn't have a good cable and you want the best of the best, then go ahead and get this. I'm not one that believes that if you change out your cables, you're going to get a dramatic difference in sound, if any difference in sound. I don't hear it. I don't hear what these people are talking about, copper, silver and so on, unless there's a difference to the resistance of the cable and some sort of capacitor, resistor, put in the way of the cable to increase the impedance or increase the impedance. It's just, I'm not hearing these differences. More likely it's just you're hearing brain burn, or you're hearing what you want to hear because you bought a shiny new cable. This one, as I say, is gold standard. And it's gold standard for a number of reasons. It's got some interesting little bits of tech on it, and the build quality is just fantastic. Let's go ahead and take it apart. Now, as I say, I've been using this with a Roland, and it's been a beautiful combination. You can see when it wraps up beautifully. It has, I'll get the pen out of the way, it has a beautiful flow to It's low on microphonics because of its construction design, and it's very thick gauge. It's quite a heavy cable, although it feels lighter than the original Hulk. But you're getting really premium build quality here. You have 22 AWG strands in here, so high quality, thick gauge strands. You have, I think it's Furukawa OCC copper, so pure, really good quality copper. I know you might not know that there's differences in copper. Right angle plug, metal construction, really well made. Right now I have the balanced connector on it, and you can see this is the most interesting thing about this cable, is this little device. Now if I go ahead, if you don't know what the Dunu cables or the Dunu Hulk cables are capable of, you grab here where the knurling is, you pull it back and you just pop it off. And that allows you to grab, for example, a 3.5mm adapter. On here there is a small notch that you can see up the top there, and there's a small, there's a notch here and there's a groove here. So you just sort of spin it, you'll find the groove and you just push it in and it clicks in, and that is firmly secured in place. And the benefit of this, for me, someone who reviews a lot of headphones, but also people who uses a lot of different devices, DAPs, DACs, with different connections. You might have a 3.5 on one device, like your phone. You might have a balanced connector here. And for example, this Shanling M6 Pro has all three of the connections. It has a 4.4 balanced, a 2.5 balanced, and a standard 3.5. So it really gives you the options. The benefit of this is, I've always found, and especially with 2-pin cables, I've always found that when I'm changing cable, the old way used to be that you would have a balanced cable and you would have a standard 3.5 cable, for example. This would be the way you would change, so you would take in, out with the 2-pin plugs. You run the risk of damaging these, but more importantly, you run the risk of damaging the termination in there just through repetitive use. And you get less of this problem with MMCX, but I've had a number of failures up at the earphones at the point. I think I had a pair of Cosmic Ears custom earphones that failed in the 2-pin connector, and I believe it was just through excessive use. So it's much easier to just change this point, and then if something's going to fail, it's the cable that fails and not your $1,000 earphones. So that is definitely the way to go for me. There's other ways you can do it with adapters. I find them awful bulky. I find this a lot more streamlined. I know FiO are trying to do something similar, but their implementation is never as good as Dunu's. Not just in this, but in their earphones as well. Let's do the rat's nest test. Little test that we do here, where we wrap up the cable, place it down, and then we see, does it tangle? No, it's perfectly well behaved, and it remains very tangle free. Let's go into the actual strand configuration. So here you have a bunch of strands inside cores, and if you look, it actually looks like a fairly intricate braiding pattern, but all it is, when you separate it out, is 2 dual twists, one for each channel, and it's just those 2 channels are twisted in together, and it gives a beautiful look to it. And this cuts down on microphonics, because the sound transferred here cannot transfer past the point of contact with the next cable and the next loop. Past the splitter, it actually splits into those 2 individual strands, and it's just dual twist there. The splitter is absolutely gorgeous. It's metal machined with 2 little notches for the channels to go in there, and it has a beautiful machined metal cable cinch if you like to tighten things up around your neck. It's just really well made. A little carbon fiber insert in there. Up at the top on this one, you do have the 2-pin connectors that are metal and the cable guides. Really nice construction. You have the red and the silver just to differentiate your right and left channels. And yeah, this one is in 2-pin, but you can get it in MMCX as well. So it's just a flawlessly, beautifully designed cable. The packaging's fine. I'll show you the packaging right now. I just put that one down. Packaging is very basic. It's just a sort of simple box like this, and you have a a nice little sleeve on the outside where you can just see the cables. It's nothing fancy, but it comes with the 3 different connectors. The build quality is outstanding. The original Hulk is a little bit tougher. It's not. This one's more pliable. It's softer. It's got a more rubbery sort of texture to it. Feels a little bit lighter weight. And there's some little differences on the splitter, although the basic ideas basically remained the same. Either one's a good cable. What I would say is if you already have the Hulk, you do not need to upgrade to this. There's no reason, as long as your Hulk is still working, there's no reason other than you like the colour that you would want to upgrade. Now, more importantly, what I want to say is, why would you want to spend $350 on a headphone cable or an earphone cable? And my answer to that would be because you're a bit mental. You are, you're really talking about getting to the end game thing where you have your earphones on lock, you have your DAC on lock, you have all your components of your system, you have your files down, you have all that down, your tips, everything, and you just want a cherry on the top. Now, do you need to go for this kind of cherry? Absolutely not. For a lot of people, I'm going to say this, that if you're the type of person that saves up to buy your audio gear, you don't have a large amount of disposable income, and I know how it is in this hobby that people see the gear and they think that it's going to be remarkably better. This is not an area where you're greatly going or at all going to improve your sound. If you're talking about the construction, design, performance of a cable, then on the way up, about half the price or less, you have the Eufrozane. I can't remember how much this is. As I say, I'll leave the link to the pricing down below. I believe it was, my head sits at $90, but it could be up to $150. It's an exceptionally well-built cable that does everything that this does sound-wise. It just doesn't have these little things. And this also has the bling factor and is available in 2 different colors. And I believe Lenso has another cable out as well. So if you've got the money, and money is no object, and this isn't going to put a dent in you, this is the one that I would go for personally, just because I like the aesthetic, I like the bling factor, I like having a really cool setup. Like, this is a cool looking setup. It's not something you need, but if it's something that you want, it's as good as anything I've ever had, and that includes my Lab cables, which I absolutely love. The blue Samurai from Lab Cable, absolutely gorgeous design. This is up there with them, and it has the added functionality. Do you need it? Absolutely not. Is it nice? It's really, really, really nice. So there you go for another review. If you want to see the big cable comparison I've got coming, I think in the next week, where I'm going to compare a whole bunch of cables against each other. We've got a whole bunch of different cables that I've purchased separately, have been sent to me, and other ones that have came with earphones. And in some cases you might find that it's better to just buy a cable or buy a full earphone set and take the cable off it to use with your other earphones. There's some companies that do really outstanding cables that can upgrade you in a way that you may as well just buy the full set of earphones to get the cable to use with your higher end earphones, and then you have a spare set lying about. So we're going to talk about that next week. So if that's something you want to see, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you on the next review, which is going to be the Shure EJ07 Tribrid earphones. Okay, have a good one. Catch you on the next one.